Well, hello.
You guys good? Rocky, over here.
Oh, hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
How's the cold treating you?
Oh, we actually got off the plane yesterday and we're like, wow, this is warm compared to Colorado. We're in the negatives right now. So
Well, obviously Saturday. I know you. I assume you always thought you would get back to the title and get another title shot. But now that it's here and it is fight week, it's only a few days away. The hard part's behind you in prep. So, what are the emotions now that you're only a few days away from another title fight?
I'm excited. Honestly, for me, like in my mind, like I know the world title's there, but like it's just another fight. It's just another stepping stone. And, this last year has been one of the best years of my life. And so I'm more motivated than ever, completely embracing this journey and I'm having fun.
When you say best year of your life, is that because like of you and Tisha? You welcomed a new addition in your family. You're fighting for the
Yes.
title. So, or is it just everything all together?
It's everything, I feel like, but the biggest part is Alea. Having Alea, like, it's just a game changer. My motivation is completely different. My purpose is completely different. Everybody's like, oh, you've been away from the octagon for a year. How does that affect you? Like, it doesn't feel like a year at all. Like, I feel like that fight with Ketlin just happened, but so much has happened. And, I say it's important to, yeah, you got to have fun in the gym. You got to do things as an athlete, but it's also important to be a person. And this year was being the person. I mean, I cannot even explain it. I mean, if the smile on my face in all these interviews doesn't say enough, like
When you say the addition of her is a game changer to you, like what do you mean by that exactly?
I'm her greatest teacher, right? And so I always say that this sport is 90% mental, 10% physical, and like the emotions that come in all of this, like I don't have room for any negativity. I don't have room for fear. I don't have room for scared, nervousness. Like there's a healthy level of nervousness because that's my body telling me that it's prepared. But like at the end of the day, like I'm her mama. Like I have to teach her how to be courageous. I have to teach her how to be brave. And this is just me passing on my legacy to her.
When she's older, will you bring her to sparring?
Listen, that little girl can be anything that she wants to be in life, but I tell her this every day. I'm like, I love you, you're beautiful, you're strong, you can do anything you want, but not be a fighter. Don't be a fighter. Self-defense, but not a
So
fighter.
what if she came to you and saad, "Mom, I do want to be a fighter"? Would you?
I'm gonna support her in whatever she wants to do, but I'll tell you what, I've seen what I put my mom through with this stress, and uh, you know, I like my health. I see the emotional roller coaster that comes with all of it, and I'm like, if we could just avoid this, like that would be great.
And then looking at your opponent on Saturday, and Mayra, she was in here earlier, and she's like, on paper, she doesn't think the fans are overly excited about this fight because she goes, people want to see me fight Julianna. So do you think she's looking past you at all?
Listen, she's a character, right? All the things that she's saying is like really entertaining me. What you just said is completely contradicting to what I've heard that she's saying. Um, at the end of the day, like I feel like she's talking all the crap. She's trying to say all the things. Sure, maybe the fans want to see her fight Juliana because they both yap a lot. They talk. And so everybody wants to see that. They love the entertainment portion. That's just not who I am. And, I think about the kids and the younger generations and who look up to me. And it's not about talking crap to each other and doing everything. At the end of the day, a fight's a fight. Our fists are going to do the talking. So I don't feel the need to waste the extra energy. And, I don't I don't know who she thinks she is right now. Like I've been in this sport for a very long time. I've been in the top 10 majority of my career in the UFC. And, for her to sit here, like they were trying to find another opponent because Juliana's injured. It was supposed to be me and Juliana. So for her to think that it's supposed to be her and Juliana, like I love the world she's living in her own mind, but she's a little confused.
Well, that kind of goes off of my next question. Were you surprised that it was her, and do you think she was the worthy opponent when Juliana wasn't healthy to fight?
Yeah, definitely, to say the least. It's just been an interesting journey for me. You know what? I'm gonna give her credit, right? She's here. She's gonna bring a challenge to the table for sure. And I'm not looking past her at all. Like I think there's a level of respect that you give each and every opponent. That's important. Um, but it's just been interesting how all that played out. When me and Aldana got scheduled, they told me when I originally fought Ketlin, it was for a number one contender fight. Then all of a sudden that fight passed, and they're like, "Oh well, here's the deal. Like Juliana and Amanda are gonna fight again, and so you and Aldana are gonna fight again." And it's like, okay, you guys are completely saying totally different to me, and it was frustrating. And then Juliana gets injured, and like I'm like, okay, I'm supposed to be next. And then they're like, well, we're gonna, pull Aldana up. It makes sense. We want Mexico to take the chance of having another champion. Blah blah blah. Okay, I hear all the entertainment behind it and everything else, but as an athlete, super frustrating. And then they call me and they're like, well, would you still want to fight in the main event in May? And it's like, what makes sense? I'm supposed to be fighting a number one contender fight. Tell me who makes sense. And they're like, Mayra Bueno Silva. And at this time, I think she was still like 13. And it was like, you guys want to take me from a number one contender fight to fighting the number 13 girl in the world? Like, how does that make any sense? And usually I'm down for every single fight, and they know that. But I was like, I'm at a point in my life, like I'm 35, like I'm on a mission. And so to me, it didn't make any sense. And then I wake up to headlines the next day, and it's like clash of the top 10, Mayra Bueno Silva versus Holly Holm. So you guys bumped her for promoting, or what the hell happened there? And then, of course, she beats Holly Holm, so then she gets bumped. Like, the rankings are interesting, but you know what? She's here now, and so it is what it is.
You're coming into this fight off a bit of a layoff. Is there anything in particular you've worked on in the gym that maybe you're looking to show on Saturday, or anything that you've worked on that you're excited to kind of put out there?
Yeah, I've talked a lot about the toolbox that I have. You know, I got categorized as a striker and as a brawler. You know, I'm a well-rounded mixed martial artist. And so my biggest thing this fight camp, we've done the work. We've done everything that we've needed to. We've prepared in all the ways. But my biggest thing as a person and as an athlete was to slow down and actually open up that toolbox. I have not had the opportunity, or I go back to the drawing board every time and I reset, or I look at things in my fights and I'm like, oh, I should have done this or whatever. Like, there's always more expectation from myself, and I get frustrated. And so my biggest thing this camp was just completely like having fun and opening that toolbox. And, it's super exciting because not only am I recharged as an individual and like just being a brand new mom and a different motivation, but like I found a different side of me in the gym, and I can feel it in my entire being. Like, I'm just so excited to showcase that to the world.
What do you think of the fact that a lot of her wins are by submission? I think 70% of her victories are by submission. The last submission loss for you, I think, was in Invicta in 2012, if I'm not mistaken. Do you look at that stuff as far as the style matchup and just knowing like you're pretty durable and tough to take out? Even Nunes, it was a 5th round stoppage on you, right?
Like I said, I'm a well-rounded mixed martial artist. I'm not just this brawler. Like, okay, cool. I have a granite chin. Like, I can take some punches. I can throw some punches. But there's so much more to me. I'm not just in the gym just constantly striking. Like, I have my own submission wins. You know what I mean? Like, when I decide to make my mind and put my mind to whatever it is, I truly feel like I'm going to accomplish that. And so there's some days that I've come in and I'm like, oh, okay, I've taken short notice fights and I'm exhausted and I've gone for the submission and I got those submission wins. When I fought Ashley Evans Smith, like, there was no way that fight was going to go another round. That cut was completely to my skull and they were going to stop it. And it was just like, I heard my coaches yell urgency. I seen the blood pouring and I was like, I have to go. And so, that was me making up my mind. But if I'm going to strike, I'm going to strike. If I want to fight up against fence, I'm going to fight up against fence. If I want to wrestle, I have great wrestling. Jiu-jitsu, oh, trust me, I have a pretty wicked ground game.
And just last one for me, I don't know if you pay attention to this stuff. Do you know you're the betting underdog going into this fight?
I've always been the underdog. Always.
Does that surprise you just with your experience? I mean, you've been on The Ultimate Fighter, you fought for a title, so I'm guessing not.
No, I've always been the dark horse in women's MMA, and that's completely fine. I thrive on people underestimating me. And, I feel like I've actually been the gatekeeper for a really long time at the 135 division. There's always going to be someone new, up and coming and rising, and they're dangerous and this, that, or another. And they're like, okay, here's Raquel. Like, here's what she looks like. You have to get through her, and once you get through here, then you're on to your next step. And I always, break their game plan in that.
Raquel, can you just contrast this title fight compared to the last time around? You were coming off the big injury with the leg break and stuff. You're going to Brazil. This seems to be a much happier, version of yourself. You talked about the kid, more comfortable climate. Does this feel just much more right for you compared to last time?
Yeah, I'm huge in believing when the stars align, and I feel like the stars have truly aligned. Like, everybody's journey looks different. Back then, of course, as an athlete, that's what I wanted back then. But it wasn't my time, and it's as simple as that. I've grown tremendously as a person and as an athlete, and as frustrating that was, like you said, I came off of major injuries. I came off of an 18-month layoff. I had total major reconstructive shoulder surgery. They throw me into the biggest profile fight of my career, and there was just a lot going on. And I always say, you can go to the gym and you can put in all the hard work, you can take all the supplements, eat completely right, but if your head and your heart ain't right, it doesn't matter. And that's what my career looked like. And so, that fight's in the past. I'm not looking back in the rearview mirror. I know a lot has changed for me. I'm on a 5-fight win streak for a reason, and it's my time now.
Yeah, and I mean, there was so much criticism too around your corner and the team from that last fight and stuff. When you kind of look back on that, does that seem like it was, a positive moment? And do you kind of what's your perspective on that all those years later now?
everything happens for a reason, and I truly believe that. You know, my team went through a lot. A lot of people on the outside, like, they don't know the behind the scenes. It's kind of that iceberg effect, right? Like, you see what's above the water, you don't see what's below. And the things that happened in that fight and what was said in my corner and the decisions that were made, like, those guys, I don't just choose different coaches every other day or like, oh, hey, you're available this weekend. Can you corner me? Like, we're a second family. We're built on trust and loyalty, and like, that's something huge to me. And my coaches know me better than I know myself sometimes. And they know the athlete I am. So the decisions that were made, like, I 100% stand behind that. In reality, I had all the control. You know what I mean? Like, if I wanted out of there, like, that was completely up to me. I voiced something out loud to my coaches and to my second family, and they made a decision based off of that. But like, we've worked through all that, and like, we've gone through the motions. The world beat us into the ground for it. They try to say whatever, and at the end of the day, like, none of that matters.
And just last one for me. This is just the second women's bantamweight title fight ever that hasn't featured Amanda Nunes or Ronda Rousey. The other one was Misha and Holly. And you've been here through all of that. What does it kind of say that, you know, Amanda, Ronda are long gone at this point, and here you are fighting for a belt again?
Yeah, you know, I mean, I've been asked so many different questions, and of course, Amanda's forever going to have her credit. Ronda's forever going to have her credit. They've done some wonderful things, and props to them. But at the end of the day, like, Amanda made her choice, and she retired, and like, the chapter's closed. Like, it's up for grabs again, and there's so much worthy talent in this division and whatnot. And my time is now. But the same way that everybody felt a void when Ronda left, and then Amanda came in and replaced that. Now everybody feels a void when Amanda's gone, and like, now I get to come in and replace that. And everybody's journey is going to look different. Everybody's success is going to look completely different.
Raquel, right here to your right. Just kind of building off that a little, I know you said it's in the rear view, but is there any part of you that wishes this second title opportunity could have come against Amanda so that you could have, you know, taken what you've built over the years since that and kind of gotten that one back?
100%. 100%. But, you know, I mean, everything happens for a reason. And so who knows? Maybe Amanda, like, isn't fully done. I mean, Ronda said she was done, and then Ronda came back and tried to give it another shot. You never know what's going to happen. But at the end of the day, we're here now. My opponent is Bueno Silva, and that's what I'm looking forward to. And, you know, just being me and going out there and accomplishing my ultimate goal.
Is it more difficult to follow in the footsteps of a dominant champion like this? Like, do you feel like you're going to have to really go out and get a few title defenses and really put your stamp on the division?
You know what? I feel like I just need to simply be me. Like I said, everybody's journey is completely different. Nobody's going to look the same. You know, everybody has their own successes in their absolute own way. And for me, like, this is just 14 years of hard work, sweat, tears, the blood, sweat, tears, dedication, like, everything, the climbing up, the falling down, like, it's all just coming together. And like, that belt is just a resemblance of that. But for me, like, I've honestly already won in life. Like, I am truly blessed. I'm thankful to be here. Like, I live a really cool life. I have an amazing opportunity to do this. And at the end of the day, like, it's just me continuing to build my legacy and have something to pass on to my daughter.
Thank you.
Raquel, love the hat.
Thanks.
Is that a custom dealie, or is that
Yeah.
a official merch? Do you want to plug that, or?
Yeah, I made these, I think it was last Pride Month. I had these for sale, but these are my Team Rocky swag, so they were a limited edition. My flight got all jacked up yesterday, and I absolutely lost my luggage, so kind of just hanging out. I'm like, all right, we got to cover the hair and do all the things.
It's a good look.
Thanks.
Regarding the hat, then, what are your thoughts on being the co-main event to a headliner featuring Sean Strickland, a guy who's made some controversial, I'd say, offensive comments about the gay and lesbian community? I mean, do you have any feeling about that?
You know what? Everybody's always going to have an opinion, right? What do they say? Opinions are like buttholes. Everyone has one. So he has one, and that's his opinion. At the end of the day, like, it doesn't affect my life, and it's never going to affect my life. And in reality, like, I'm not even paying attention to the outside noise. It's all outside noise. It doesn't matter to me. I feel like the world is the way it is because people make their comments and do all the stupid stuff. But, you know, it's what keeps it interesting. So I personally don't care. I'm focused on my ultimate goal. I'm focused on myself. And, like, I can't even tell you who else is on the card because that's how focused I am on just what I'm going to do.
Thanks. And any pick for the main event, then?
Yeah, not Sean Strickland. I'm just kidding.
So you mentioned that you felt like an underdog coming into a lot of these fights. How did you mentally shift your perspective from feeling like a perpetual underdog to feeling like you can become a world champion now?
I don't pay attention to that, you know? I mean, I feel like if you don't have haters, you're not doing something right. And people have always like doubted me, and that's completely fine. It's just more motivation. Like, it gives me a good laugh at the end of the day. They doubt me. They tell me how I should quit, how I suck, how I'm boring. Like, I don't even know the things that I've caught. And then every time I get my hand raised, I'm like, oh, eat that. Like, it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, I mean, that's just the people's opinions. It's statistics. It's what people want to see. I mean, I've been an athlete my whole life. I'm a freaking sports fan. It's the same thing if you have a team and you're just like, oh, we really want this team to win. You know what I mean? And that's what it comes down to. But it doesn't define me as an athlete. It doesn't define me as a person.
Just as you mentioned, so much of this being a mental game, and looking at Saturday as trying to just categorize it as just another fight. Was that the perspective going into your last championship fight? And tell me a bit about the contrast. Was it kind of be all end all back in 2018?
It was. I mean, I honestly cannot tell you where my mental state was back in 2018. It was literally all over the board. I was all over the board. I was coming off a long layoff. I wanted to feel like myself again. I had frustration after frustration, setback after setback. I was developing medical issues. It was one thing after another after another. And as a fighter, it was like, man, I just want to be me. As a person, like, and being a warrior, like, I just wanted to be me. And so it was like, in my mind, I was going to be world champ. Like, in my mind, I was going to be world champion. In my heart, I didn't feel half of anything. I didn't feel it in my entire being, because everything was so unaligned. But it was going to happen somehow. And now the big difference is I feel it in every part of me. Like, my mind is right. My heart is right. My freaking spirit is right. My motivation is on a different level. Like, I just feel 100% different.
Thank you.